Hello, Bayreuth young artist. I am Martha Mook. How are you? I'm coming to you from the New York area, and I'm delighted to be meeting you, although I wish I could meet you in person sometime. So just a little bit of introduction to my studio and what I do. I am an electroacoustic violist. I actually started on acoustic viola many years ago. I still do play in orchestras and Broadway shows and string quartets and things. And but along the way, I discovered that plugging in gives you a whole new world of sounds. So thanks to my mentor, Jean-Luc Ponty, who I discovered a wonderful collection of collaboration of jazz and electronics and improvisation and classical, all styles. Really, that's why I've come up with a term called multi-styles, and multi-style strings is what I do. So one day I could be playing classical, the next day I could be playing rock and roll or hip hop, or I played with a beatboxer. And so I use all this set of electronics here. These are foot pedals, effects processors, and what they do is they take the sound of the viola. And by the way, I use a wireless, so that's why I'm not attached to anything. And so the sound of the viola goes through all of these pedals, goes actually this way, through here, and then there's another pedal board on the floor that is my looper. And so I use this, usually this is on the floor, and I change the pedals with my feet. And basically I use it as a collaborator, as if it was another musician. And I start playing. And it gives me something that I may not have thought about, like clouds of sound and new sound worlds. So as a composer and a violist and an improviser, I put that all together, and that's how I get my different worlds of sounds. So I'll just give you one little demonstration, and then we'll show you a little clip from a recent performance that I did, live stream.
Please welcome to the broadcast the wonderful Martha Mook.
Great to be here. I've been enjoying your shows, all of them. So I'm going to offer up an improvisation, kind of like a prayer in honor of the healthcare workers that have just been saving lives like crazy, and doing it just, with their hearts. So from my heart and my spirit to all of yours, thank you.
Isaac wants to know about your tech setup here. What people can see? Like, what's your setup? What kind of violin? What kind of viola do you have? And
Good question.
what are all the gadgets around you?
So this is it's a 5-string. It's made by Yamaha, and so it's a combination of a violin and a viola, but with the it's got the size of a viola, so that's the heart and soul of the instrument. So that's the back. I'm wireless, by the way.
Cool.
So I could actually walk around, which is usually what I do in a live performance. I walk around and interact with the audience. So just I'm virtually walking around the room. So so this is actually virtually connected to my pedal board, which you see right here. Usually it's at my feet, but and I usually don't sit when I play, but so you can see what's going on. So I have a pedal board here, which has a whole bunch of pedals. It's 2 H9s made by Eventide. That's like my core sound. Eventide Rose, which is an analog pedal. A Yamaha Stomp, which gives me some really cool sounds. This is an old antique, but I still love it. And then all that gets connected to at my feet, which unfortunately you can't see, but imagine you're seeing another similar size pedal board that it's called a Boss Loop Station, RC300. And I can make 3 separate loops at the same time, and it's all stereo, which is why it sounds great. And that is all just going directly into an audio interface right into the computer. So my neighbors are having a great time because they can't hear me.
Yeah, I bet. Well, it sounds wonderful. And Bruce wants to know when did you take this direction of you probably presumably began with the classical training.
Yeah.
When did you take this direction cleared into electric strings?
So I started on viola, and I was pursuing the classical tradition until, well, actually I still do. I mean, I'm still, as they say, legit classical player, play with orchestras, and I play on Broadway. But when I was in high school, a friend of mine gave me a recording. Some guy I'd never heard of. He's on the cover. He's holding this beautiful blue violin, and the recording was Jean-Luc Ponty, A Taste for Passion. And
it's up on your wall there. It looks like
it's up on my wall with that instrument, in fact. And I went out and I bought it. I made my parents take me down to the city when there used to be 48th Street, all the music shops, and I bought it. It's a Barkasbury 5-string violin, and so I put the record on, and of course in those days it was an album vinyl, and it just blew my mind. I never knew a violinist could sound like that, a string player could sound like that. He was using electronics, he was improvising, it was jazz, it was rock, it was everything. And that was my aha moment. And I went out and I bought more of his recordings. I found other electric violin players because there really weren't any electric viola players that I could identify back at that time. This was in the 80s. So I'm going to play a couple of selections from my more recent album, No Ordinary Window, which came out a few years ago. And again, this is something I love playing live. Actually, as high-tech as I am, I like to go low-tech with this concert and start the concert before the sun sets, but then actually have, thank you, there it is, have the concert going as the sun is going down, because the whole thing is about what windows mean. And so it's not just windows looking out, but it's windows to the soul, windows to the universe, windows as artwork, stained glass windows. And so at night, when the sun goes down and there's light inside, windows actually become reflectors. They become mirrors. So you see inside yourself. So lots of different meanings. And so I'm going to play a couple of movements, Inner Window 3 and the finale movement. So enjoy.